Good morning, everybody. I hope this video is going to go okay because I've been having all sorts of technical issues this morning, starting with the car's electronic system not working at all, which meant that I only just made it back in time, and then my first attempt at going live decided to end itself. Anyway, let's get going before anything else tries to sabotage this live video today. So thank you for watching whenever you are. I know people catch up with this at all sorts of times during the day. So we're talking today about getting unstuck. And feeling stuck is something that is prevalent throughout life, but I think it can feel particularly strong in midlife. And plenty of people feel stuck with where they are. They just don't know what to do next. And this is something that I talk about a lot with my lawyer mentoring clients who want to get out of the profession. But the way forward from feeling stuck is, first of all, to start looking at why you're feeling stuck. And the best way that I find to do that is to get yourself a journal or just a pad of paper and a pen. Doesn't have to be a formal journal, and start asking yourself questions, because when I am working with people I will ask them the questions, but you can do it for yourself. So your first question is, why are you stuck? Now, you might not immediately know the answer to that question, but if you allow yourself some quiet time to sit with it, with your blank piece of paper and a pen, just write what comes into your head as to why you're stuck. And when you've got that answer written down in front of you, it may lead to a further question, and then you ask yourself that question and write down the answer, and just keep going until you have got to the root of why you're stuck, because that's the key to starting to get unstuck. You need to get to the root of what it is that's causing you to feel stuck. And it could be any number of things, because everybody's situation is different. But what I will say is that most of those issues are rooted in some kind of fear. When it comes down to it, it's a mindset fear. And it could be a fear of taking the next step that you know you either should in your mind or you want to. It could be fear of anything. It could be, sometimes it can be fear of stepping into the next version of ourselves. We want to do that. We want to expand and grow, but we're a bit fearful, so we stick with what we know. And our mind dresses that up as feeling stuck. And it's just a trick that our minds play on us, really. And as I've said many times before, when we are feeling uncomfortable and stuck and trapped in a situation, it's often because our brains are trying to keep us safe, because our brains like what they know. They like to keep us in that situation because they understand it. It's sort of a comfort zone, although, as again you'll have heard me say probably before, it's really a discomfort zone because you don't like being there. But your brain thinks it's a comfort zone because it knows how to deal with it. It's used to dealing with it, but it doesn't know how to deal with something new. And that's why it can keep us stuck, because it doesn't want us, in a way, to go out and try something new, because then our brain will have to learn how to deal with that. So if you can think of it in that way, as your brain sort of playing a trick on you, then that can be one way of feeling a little bit more comfortable about the fact that you're feeling stuck, which I know sounds like a contradiction in terms. But that leads me to my next point, which is that it is really important to accept where you are, because, again, as you may have heard me say before, if you've been following me for any length of time, what we resist persists. So in other words, if we are fighting that feeling of being stuck, and concentrating all the time on the fact that we're feeling stuck and we want to get out of this, but we don't know how. All that's doing is giving energy to that feeling of stuckness, which probably isn't a word, but you know what I mean. So, and again, another phrase that I often use is that where attention goes, energy flows. So if we're putting our attention on the feeling stuck, then the energy is going to go on feeling stuck and it's going to keep us there. What we need to do is place our energy on getting unstuck. So instead of focusing on what we don't want, we focus instead on what we do want. And there are a couple of ways that you can do that. The first, it doesn't have to, not in any particular order, just how I'm telling you about them today. So the first one is to face your fear head on, your fear of being, the fear that's at the root of your stuckness. In other words, the fear that you've got to by doing the exercise that I talked about at the beginning. So that is really, many of you will have heard the title of Susan Jeffers' book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, which is just going for it. And that's fine, but that might be a step too far for you, particularly if whatever it is that's your fear that's at the root of your stuckness is a really big step. So the second way of getting yourself into the right mindset of going for whatever it is rather than feeling held back and stuck is to use an affirmation. And again, I talk about these all the time, and it's because I know they work. They've worked for me, they've worked for clients. They have to be in the present tense, and it has to be preferably in your own words. So I can give you a few words now, but there may be other ways of saying it that feel better for you. And if that's the case, then absolutely use your own words, because your mind listens to your voice, and that will be the most powerful for it. Very simple one. My path ahead is clear. My path ahead is clear. Another one could be, I know the way forward. So you see, or I move forward with excitement. Anything like that, any combination, all about the positivity of moving ahead and getting on with your life and growing rather than feeling in this stuck place. So that is another way of changing your mindset from focusing on the being stuck. What was the other one that I was going to say? Oh yes, a really, really important one, which is to take baby steps. You only have to take the first step to be on your way. You know, it's like people say climbing a mountain starts with the first step. You know, you're not going to jump up to the top of Everest on day one. You're going to put one foot in front of the other. Take that baby step. So take whatever baby step feels right to you to get yourself out of feeling stuck. Don't worry about the fact that you may not know the steps that come next. Those will come to you after you've taken the first step. It's taking that first step that is key, because that will get you out of that feeling of being stuck and trapped. So take action, however small. So it can be done, it is possible, and taking action is the best thing that you can do, because otherwise, if you're constantly focusing on feeling stuck, you're not going to get out of it. As I said earlier, all your energy is going into really resisting that feeling of being stuck, which ironically just keeps you there, instead of putting your energy and your focus on how you get out of it. And if you don't know what the next step is and you need some help with that, then find somebody who can help you. I'm very happy to help people. If you think that I'm the right person to help you, then get in touch with me. I may not be the right person for you, and that's absolutely fine. Somebody will be. It's just about finding the person who is right for you. Sometimes it can be reading a book that really speaks to you and gets you moving. One of the great ones that got me moving out of my feeling of being stuck when I was in law and wanted to get out was one of Rebecca Campbell's, which was, let me get the title right, it was Light is the New Black. I don't think I've got it to hand anymore, so I can't be sure that's the right title, but I'm pretty sure it was that one, and it did speak to me. And it really got me moving. But there are plenty of motivational books out there that can help you. It's just a question of finding what's right for you, and that in itself is taking a step. So that's maybe your first baby step, is finding a motivational book, a motivational TED talk, a podcast, whatever it is that speaks to you. And then the next step will be taking whatever action feels right to you after having read or listened to that advice or spoken to a mentor or a coach. But don't worry that you're only taking one step and you don't know what comes next, because that is a huge thing. Taking that first step to get yourself out of being stuck, and then you're on your way. So I hope some of that was helpful. As always, thank you for watching. I'm really grateful. I hope that next week I'll be back to my earlier time, but I had all sorts of things going on this morning, which meant that I couldn't be here at my usual 8:15, 8:30ish time. But as always, I will post the day before about the time that I'm going to be going live, and also about what the topic will be. So have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.